Hello and welcome to Subnautica News. My name is Pilas Cage and today I will be reading for you some Subnautica's Below Zero expansion potential story. If you are really sensitive about spoilers, then I would recommend to stop watching. Although everything in this video is just a more technical look at the story, and nothing directly related. Tom Joubert is the narrative designer for Subnautica and he's author of this blog post. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's get to reading. I will avoid in this post plot spoilers of anything but the starting scenario. Not really a spoiler, but if you do want to come at the story absolutely clean, then please consider not reading this post and not playing the early access when it arrives. This post does feature Subnautica 1.0 spoilers. So this is a standalone expansion set some months after the events of the original game. Riley Robinson has escaped 4546b and made it back to Federation space. And Altera has now sent the Vesper, an orbital research station, to the planet, where they maintain a small contractor presence on the surface. Ostensibly they are here to salvage the Aurora and prospect for resources. Altera being Altera, this may not be the whole truth. Since January we have blocked out the world map, planned the story, and begun work on content. The LDs are churning out new biomes, vehicles are coming along, and the bare bones of the story are implemented. We can play the game start to finish, but it's still very work in progress. I'm currently about halfway through the full first draft. We did consider adding content to the base scenario instead of creating an entirely new one, but I argued against it from a story perspective, and I am glad we are doing something standalone. The original story has been told. For me to be excited about working on the expansion, and for you to be excited to play it, I wanted a new character with a new set of conflicts which let us further explore the world we created, not just a bolt-on. It's the same approach we took to the expansion to the Talos principle, and I'm happy with how that worked out. You will play as one of Altera's contractors, a zoologist of alien life stationed in a frozen area of the planet, tasked with investigating the alien ruins. Of course, a complication will arise that throws everything upside down and forces you to dive deeper in search of answers. We hope this scenario gives us a neat twist on the original. You are still on the planet, fending for yourself and surviving against the elements, but now you're in touch with the Vesper in the skies above, which completely changes the context of your actions, and puts the story and character dialogue more front and center. We think of it like the shift from Alien to Aliens, except it is in context only, not in gameplay. We are not turning our slow survival game into an action shooter. I am trying to tell the story in a way that is more character driven. In the base game your character has no on-screen personality. They're an avatar. The character's motivations are always a sort of reduction of natural human motivations. You must survive, and everything you do in the game can be read as a means to that end, if you are so inclined as a player. No one can argue with that, but it's also a huge restriction to the kinds of stories your character can be involved in. In the base game there is a disconnect between what happens in the survivor stories, and what happens in the core alien mystery plot. The core story is in the past tense. You discover what happened before, but nothing much changes in the present, with some exceptions, like the Sunbeam. In the expansion, I would like dialogue and core plot to be more intertwined. To achieve that end we are experimenting with using a speaking player character. This is a controversial decision, even within the team. To my mind it carries two risks. 1. It may create a disconnect between player motivation and character motivation. 2. Too much protagonist voice may take away from the feeling of isolated survival. I hope I can mitigate these with solid writing and lots of play testing and revisions. That's where you guys come in, but I accept that the decision in itself will be anathema for some. I hope, small minority. I bite that bullet, because playing it safe as a creative is just never a good option. If we fail, we may as well fail spectacularly. What I hope this gives us is a much greater variety of stories that we can tell, different ways we can surprise you, character relationships which actually develop as you progress in the game, and which contextualize your actions and discoveries. An ending that is about more than survival, a beating emotional heart instead of or perhaps in addition to, cold scientific analyses. Thank you for tuning in. This was Pila's Cage for eXernox Media. See you next time.